Bare Turf and Ornamentals is pleased to provide this overview of Broadform fungicide, which is registered for disease control in commercial greenhouses and nursery production, as well as commercial and residential landscapes. Broadform fungicide is labeled for over 50 pathogens on ornamental plants, including botrytis and other economically important leaf spot diseases. Broadform is systemic and provides long-lasting disease control. It has a caution signal word, and the recommended application rate is 4 fluid ounces for most diseases. Broadform combines two different chemistries to create a fungicide for broad spectrum disease control of ornamental plants. Fluopyram, one of the components in Broadform, is a succinate dehydrogenase inhibitor, or SDHI, and currently the only pyridinal ethyl benzamide, or pyramide SDHI, labeled for use in ornamentals. Several other SDHI combination products, shown in red, all contain a carboxamide SDHI. This key difference is very important for resistance management and will be addressed later in the presentation. Research has shown that foliar applications of fluopyram result in an immediate uptake of a certain percentage of active ingredient and demonstrates translaminar movement protecting the entire portion of the leaf. A reservoir of the product remains on the leaf surface and gets continually taken up over time. Broadform is UV stable with low volatility, water solubility, and becomes rain fast upon drying on the surface of treated plants. Broadform is a systemic fungicide that moves upward and outward in the plant xylem and has excellent translaminar activity for added leaf protection. Broadform penetrates and moves into stem, leaf, and bud tissue for long-lasting residual protection of the plant canopy. This radiograph shows active ingredient flushing through leaf tissue. That's the portion in red. Uptake and redistribution by the stem into newly emerged leaves. Within 2 days, the active ingredient flushes up to all the foliage above it. This shows a comparison of Pageant and Broadform on controlling blossom blight at different flower stages. You can see for open flowers, Broadform provided 95% control and Pageant around 90% control. However, Pageant provided very little control for closed buds, while Broadform gave over 55% control. Broadform has greater efficacy on open blossoms and can protect a greater number of flower bud pathogens, such as Botrytis. Researchers at the University of Florida sampled strawberry transplants from 14 different nurseries and collected 409 isolates of botrytis. The majority of these isolates were resistant to more than one active ingredient, and fluopyram had the least resistance, showing only 0.2% of all the botrytis isolates. As the name implies, Broadform is very broad spectrum with control of over 50 pathogens, including some of the most common and economically important, such as powdery mildews, rust, Rhizoctonia, scab pathogens, and those fungi that cause tip blights and dieback diseases. Here's a botrytis on geranium trial that was conducted by Dr. Ann Chase. The graph shows the mean number of diseased leaves per plant. Note 15 diseased leaves on the inoculated control plants is close to 100% of the plant. The mean number of diseased leaves was statistically lower for all fungicide treated plants. However, broadform treated plants had the lowest number of diseased leaves, and this value was actually significantly lower than Mural. Dr. Chase evaluated sporulation of botrytis on 5 different rating dates. Broadform treated plants only showed sporulation of botrytis on 1 date, and sporulation rating values were lower than Mural, Orchestra, and Palladium, Broadform completely controlled botrytis while there was still sporulation on the later rating dates for all the other treatments. Here's an Anthracnose cyclamen trial conducted by Dr. Ann Chase. Area under the disease progress curve accounts for disease intensity over time. Broadform treated plants had the lowest disease, the number of leaf spots per leaf, compared to all other treatments. Here's an IR4 trial conducted by Dr. David Norman at the University of Florida. The graph shows disease severity ratings taken 42 days after the fungicide applications. Broadform treated plants had the lowest disease compared to all other treatments except for ProStar, which also provided 100% control of Rhizoctonia. Bayer has packaged Broadform to make it easier for use. The cap on the bottle has a foil cutter so it can be inverted and used to easily open the seal. Also, the cap serves as a measuring cup and the bottle is clear with measuring marks, making it easy to determine the amount of product in the bottle. We like to say simplicity in a bottle. Broadform's unique butanylide structure makes it an excellent choice of fungicide for resistance management. Broadform is a systemic fungicide that is labeled to control over 50 pathogens with a recommended application rate of 4 fluid ounces per 100 gallons. Again, simplicity in a bottle. Thank you for your interest in Broadform fungicide. I hope this short presentation